I'm going to tell you something that might make you angry, and I'm 73 years old. Everything you believe you know about growing older is untrue. What's the worst part? Your parents, teachers, and society as a whole, the ones who ought to be telling you this are either lying to you or don't know themselves. You know, I believe the same lies that you most likely do now for the first 50 years of my life. I believed I had everything sorted out. I had a job, a home, and my peers' respect. However, something occurred when I was 52 that completely upended everything I believed to be true, and in the 21 years that have passed since then, I have learned things that have fundamentally altered my perspective on life, death, and everything in between. However, I need you to comprehend something before I tell you what transpired. I'm not making this video to impress you or to feel smart. There are things you need to know before it's too late. Therefore, I'm making this because I'm running out of time for you, not for me. I experienced what medical professionals refer to as a cardiac event at the age of 52. That's a fancy way of stating that I felt like my heart was trying to murder me. I was talking about quarterly estimates in a meeting when all of a sudden the room began to spin. The next thing I recall is waking up in a hospital bed with my wife sobbing in the corner and tubes emerging from my arms. According to the physicians, I was fortunate. They referred to my recent realization of my own mortality as luck. However, you know what? They were correct, because I came to a horrifying realization while lying in that hospital bed with nothing to do except think all my life. I had been operating on autopilot. I was merely going through the motions, checking boxes and attempting to live up to everyone else's expectations. I wasn't truly alive. This is the bit that still bothers me. What would I have left behind if my heart had ceased beating permanently that day? A lovely home, an account for retirement. A string of accomplishments that, after 5 years, no one would recall. I'll tell you the biggest lie you're probably telling yourself at the moment. I have time. I'll do that later. When I'm older, I'll finally live the life I want. Every young person I see, whether they are in their 20s, 30s, or even 40s, says the same thing. When I make more money, then I'll be happy when I get that promotion. Then I'll relax. When the kids are grown, then I'll travel. When I retire, then I'll finally do what I love. With one straightforward fact, I can spare you 50 years of regret. That day never arrives. Do you know why? Since the goalposts are constantly shifting after receiving the promotion, you find yourself in need of the following one. You suddenly need more money after earning more. Before you know it, you're 70 years old and wondering where your life went because you're constantly chasing something that's just out of reach. This is what I did. After climbing a ladder for 30 years, I discovered that it was resting against the wrong wall when I reached the top. Additionally, you are unable to descend again and begin anew. That is not how time operates. When you're young, no one tells you this. Achieving success is a horrible objective, and I say this because I've accomplished what I set out to do. At my firm, I became a partner. The house was purchased by me. My coworkers respected me. And you know what? It didn't matter. You reach your objective, and you feel fantastic for roughly 48 hours. The emotion then subsides. You've returned to baseline. You now require a new objective, a greater accomplishment. An additional confirmation. A hamster wheel, that is, 3 years ago, a friend of mine passed away at the age of 68, worked 70-hour weeks all of his life, created a multi-million-dollar company. I've never actually taken a vacation. He kept promising to slow down. Next year, he suffered a stroke the following year. My father was a successful man, but I barely knew him. His son remarked at his funeral, "Do you want that legacy? Your mistakes won't be the subject of your regrets. They will focus on the things you did not do." I don't spend my nights lying awake contemplating unsuccessful business transactions. They are irrelevant. What keeps me awake, you know? I was too busy to take the trip to Japan. I allowed my connection with my brother to worsen. The book I've always wanted to write but have never gotten around to. I was working late, so I didn't have time to spend with my children. You are eaten by these things. The chances lost, the untaken roads, the affection you failed to show, the dangers you avoided due to fear. You believe you have endless time with the people you love, such as your parents, siblings, and close friends. You don't, and that time will eventually run out. When I was 45, my father passed away. Our relationship was complex. Additionally, I was never able to devote enough time to it. I kept thinking that when I had more time, we could discuss. We were never given the opportunity. A heart attack vanished in a matter of hours. You know what I regret the most? I didn't call him on any of the Sundays. I was too tired to travel over for dinner every single time. Every small moment I allowed to pass. Mo won't always be available. I made significant modifications following. My heart attack retreated from the workplace, began declining unimportant requests. I began accepting things that I had been putting off for decades. I've gained more life knowledge during the past 21 years than I did over the preceding 52. Spending time with those you love is what matters, and it's ridiculously simple. Work that you find meaningful. Experiencing things rather than possessing them. Making memories, being there. I am aware that it sounds easy. I would have rolled my eyes when I was your age. Sure, but I have bills to pay. Indeed, you do. I'm not advocating for you to quit your work. Don't trade what matters for what doesn't. I'm saying, I want you to ask yourself this question and provide an honest response. Would you be content with your life thus far if you passed away tomorrow? Not would your eulogy impress people. Did you accomplish enough? Would you be content? Just, what are you waiting for if the answer is no? What are you doing with your time that is so vital that you would risk your one and only life for it? My age is 73, since that heart attack. I've been fortunate to be in good health, however. I am conscious that I am on borrowed time every morning when I awaken. Really, we are all, however, the majority of youth are unaware of this. They believe they are unbeatable. They believe they will last forever. You don't. I have grandchildren. There are 3 of them. They exhibit the same trends that I find in the majority of today's youth. They are pursuing things that will not bring them happiness, and they are anxious and stressed. They are committing the same errors that I did, and I make an effort too. Inform them, I make an effort to impart my knowledge. However, you know what? They don't pay much attention. They can't. Not because they're awful kids. They are currently residing in the storm. The patterns are not yet visible to them. They believe that their circumstances are special and that they are exempt from the previous regulations. I'm creating this video for that reason, because if enough people hear this message, there's a chance that someone will pay attention. A different decision will be made by someone. The regrets that plague people like me will be avoided by someone. You're coming closer to death every single day. This is not something that anyone enjoys thinking about. However, your time is limited. The people you love don't either. If your parents are still living, they are aging daily. They will eventually go, most likely sooner than you anticipate. Relationships with your spouse, friends, and kids don't last forever. What will you do then? Continue delaying that phone call? Continue to put off that trip? Continue convincing yourself that you will find time later? Or will you get up today and begin to live as though time is of the essence, since it is? Here's what I would say to my 30-year-old self if I could travel back in time. Give up attempting to impress unimportant people. Give up putting your career ahead of your health. Give up delaying happiness till someday. Give up waiting for approval to lead the life you desire. Make more frequent phone calls to your parents. Take the vacations you've always wanted to. Do the things that frighten you first. Saying no to responsibilities that drain you should become a habit. Begin accepting experiences that make you happy above everything. Get started right away, not the following year, not following this project, not when you have more money, more time. Or anything else right now. The perfect time will never arrive. I assure you, there will always be chaos, complexity, and plenty of reasons to put things off in life. However, if you wait, you will eventually realize that you have been waiting your entire life away. I'm 73, 10 or 15 more years. If I'm lucky, if fortunate, perhaps 20. Most likely less, and that's fine with me, because the past 21 years have been the most prosperous of my life. Not because I earned more money. Since I at last began living a purposeful life, thank you each and every day. Setting priorities for important things, I visited locations I've always wanted to see, strengthened bonds with my grandchildren and kids, pursued interests that I put off. I've forgiven those I harbored resentment towards, repeated I love you many times at 73. With less time ahead of me, I'm happier than I was at 30, when I believed. I had endless time. The irony is that you begin to truly live when you realize that time is finite. You cease squandering it. You cease delaying happiness. You begin to create the appropriate moment, Right now, you have an option. Continue your current lifestyle, pursuing achievement, delaying happiness, and promising yourself that you will find time later or awaken. The life you've been longing to live must begin now since time is passing more quickly than you may. Realize, I am unable to make this decision on your behalf. However, I can assure you that you don't want to be 73 years old and wishing you had made different decisions. Don't squander 52 years trying to figure this out. Take note of my errors. Live a purposeful life. Set priorities for what is important. Give up hoping for someday. Today is one day. It has always been. Share this video if it speaks to you. Post a comment. Tell me what you plan to do differently. I have more truths to tell, and I'm running out of time. So please subscribe. The time is running out. How will you spend your time?